What's going on, guys? TieFly85 here again.
And I'm T-Rec87, and welcome to another episode of the MGK Podcast. We got a lot of topics we want to talk about today, so let's go ahead and just get started. First up was an article. We just found this just a little bit ago. We were talking on the phone, and I was like browsing on my phone, and I saw this, and it looks like there's a bunch of new Star Trek shows in the works. What do you think about this, TieFly?
I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's about time. I never really got into Star Trek Discovery, which I know is kind of blasphemous for somebody who says they love Star Trek, but I just never really got into it. So I would love to see them bring back a Next Generation sequel.
And yeah, so that's basically kind of what this article is going over, is that it looks like there's a $25 million deal with CBS, part of a 5-year plan to bring more Star Trek to TV, blah, blah, blah. And basically, this is in the wake of Discovery's success. A lot of people have had issues with Discovery, just with the fact that it doesn't feel like a regular Star Trek show, but it's actually really, really good. But in the rumors of this report, like the biggest thing, and this is why we're seeing this picture of Jean-Luc Picard up at the top here, old Patrick Stewart, is that there's talks of actually possibly bringing him back for a new series, and I don't know, I guess it would be a sequel to Next Generation, and I wonder if this would be something in with this first one here that you see, where it says that there's a teen-oriented series set at Starfleet Academy from Stephanie Savage and Josh Schwartz, the duo behind the recent Dynasty reboot and Marvel's Runaways adaptation. I wonder if it's something like that, to where maybe Jean-Luc Picard is like an instructor at Starfleet Academy, kind of does like the old Professor X, style type thing, where he's a teacher or a professor or whatever. What do you think, TieFly? I mean, I don't know. What role could they bring him back in as?
If we're looking specifically at the teen-oriented series, are we saying just what could they bring him back as in general? Is that what you're saying, kind of thing?
Kind of, yeah.
I don't think that they would use anything as far as the X-Men-esque type, Professor Xavier type thing.
Well, I'm not saying he's going to be in a wheelchair.
I would say, yeah. I would say overall, though, for the biggest thing would probably be, that they're either going to have him be the captain, and then he hands it over to somebody, or maybe he's the head of Star Command now. And so every time we see him is when the ship reports in.
Yeah, so you don't think he'll be like a central role, is kind of what you're saying?
Unless they're really trying to make a big push, and that's the biggest thing they're going to use. Kind of like similar to how Star Wars used, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford to push their movies.
Sure.
So, if they're trying to pull something like that, but if it doesn't work out, then it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
But if they end up making it work out, then it's probably going to be amazing.
The other ones on here that it says a limited series with a confidential plot, a limited series based around the beloved character Khan from the original Star Trek, classic film Wrath of Khan. That's been something apparently that's been rumored for quite a while, and an animated series with another currently confidential plot. I don't know. I think the most likely is that he's going to come back and he's going to be like a teacher at Starfleet.
That would be kind of cool. I could see that if they're going with the teen-oriented series.
He's like 85, 90 years old. Like he's too old to be a captain, in my opinion.
Ooh, think of this as that teen-oriented, right? He's the teacher, and as he's going through all the Starfleet commands and teaching this class on how to become starship leaders and stuff like that. If he goes through old past episodes of, you know what I mean? They do flashbacks.
Where they tie it back into Next Generation,
kind of. Back into Next Generation. Like, that'd be kind of cool.
That could be pretty neat. I would totally be down to watch that. But basically anything that brings back Jean-Luc Picard, in my opinion, is going to be huge for Star Trek. Discovery's had it's been wildly successful for that first season they had, but they've had so many problems. They just had 2 of their producers left the series.
Yeah, 2 of the producers, and they brought in 2 new ones, which is who Alex, the new head runner for Discovery, is. But apparently they had a little bit of behind-the-scenes controversy where a couple of the producers were yelling at the writers, and there was a lot of HR complaints.
Right.
And also money. It's usually always about money, but let's add a few other things in there. But I guess apparently the episodes were just costing way too much.
Oh,
so.
dude, yeah. I mean, if I know you haven't seen Discovery, but like the episodes, like every episode was like a movie, dude. Like it was like all the effects and everything were so good, and it was amazing to see that on just like a TV show, you know. And so I can totally see that where like it was wildly successful, but they're like, wow, we blew like like $300 million on this season, or I don't know how much the budget was, but I can totally see that they just blew all sorts of money on it. And
That's like that. Did you ever see that Steven Spielberg direct to? It was kind of like a TV series, but it was about dinosaurs.
no.
Darn, I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about, but it's kind of like that. Every single episode, no joke. This is the reason why they only did one season of the show, was because every episode cost over $1 million.
Oh my god.
Because it was. I mean, Steven Spielberg wanted to get it right, and it was perfect, and it was amazing. And I'm so sad that they canceled that show.
It was one season.
Yeah, it was one season.
Yeah, I bet
and
after they got
amazing.
the bill, they were like, "Oh my god," you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm personally super excited for a Next Generation sequel or any sort of new Star Trek. I mean, any new Star Trek in my opinion is good. What else did we find on here? Did you want to talk about Incredibles 2?
Yeah, so for a lot of you, I did recently just go see Incredibles 2, so if anybody want to see my review, definitely go check that out. But some biggest news from Incredibles 2 is they have smashed the box office. Like, oh my goodness, for their opening weekend. So the highest grossing Pixar movie before Incredibles 2 was Finding Dory with $135 million. Like, that's huge for an opening weekend.
Oh wow, they went like 50 million past it.
Yeah, and Incredibles 2 opened at 183.2 million at the domestic box office, which you can see right here towards the middle is brought it to 231.5 million around the world. So, I mean, that's a lot of money for a Pixar movie. I mean, it's just an animated kids movie.
You know what's
I mean, they're making a killing.
You know what is pun intended. You know what's incredible about this is that this movie the first one was made like 14 years ago, and it was like a good solid movie. Like I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was like the greatest movie of all time by any means, but it was a great movie. I really liked it. And then 14 years later, here we go. We have a new one. And I don't know if part of it's just the nostalgia of the first one. Like there's a lot of us who were 14 years ago were a lot younger, and all of a sudden we're getting a new movie that kind of tied into a lot of people's childhoods, I guess, or even when they were teenagers, and so everybody still got a lot of love for the movie, and I wonder if that's part of why it was so good.
The craziest thing, so when I went to go see it in the theater, just to kind of play on your point, I was looking around to see who was in the theater, because I was just curious to see who's seeing this movie.
Right.
There were a lot of kids, but I did notice there were a lot of teenagers.
Oh, really?
I think that you are correct in your thing.
Like,
of saying,
14
years have gone by, and now they want to see what's going on
with
this film. But also, too, I think that with their waiting for so long, they pulled in a whole new audience.
Oh,
because they're able to go back and watch the original. So, like, my daughter is a perfect example, right? 14 years ago, she wasn't even born.
Right.
So here we are 14 years later, she's 2.5 years old, and I just took her to see Incredibles 2. She loves the Incredibles, the original.
Right,
so.
and then like in 14 years she can see Incredibles 3. And
yeah, exactly.
So I was really surprised, dude, honestly, with how well this movie did. I thought it was going to do good for sure. Like, Incredibles is a good movie. I thought people would go see this one. I had no idea it was going to just smash the box office, and it has the second biggest June opening behind only 2015's Jurassic World and the 8th biggest debut of all time.
Yeah,
that's crazy nuts. That's unreal, dude. I don't even know what to say about that, really. It makes me want to go see it for sure. I'm gonna have to go see it now. Maybe I'll try taking my boys and see if they want to go see it.
It brings up my question again because of that statement: is what happened to Solo?
Oh, sure, yeah.
What happened? If this movie's able to be the 8th highest box office growth of Disney ever, then what happened to Solo?
So it's funny. We've been talking about this all week, and Tyfly's been wanting to talk about more Star Wars stuff, and a tweet from Mark Hamill and all this stuff, and I just keep telling him, I'm like, yeah, beat that dead horse, just because everyone keeps talking about it, and then we looked up this article about The Incredibles, and sure enough, they mentioned Solo, you know, so it's funny that it's just like a lot of people still are talking about like how poorly this movie did. But I mean, either way, I mean, as far as Disney's concerned, like they're
just as a quick side note.
Yeah.
So I mean, just as a quick thing, I know that we're beating the dead horse, like Tarek just said, but one of the things is when Marvel's able to release 3 movies in 1 year, and nobody is saying that they're fatigued on superhero movies,
right?
But yet they can release Episode 8 and then Solo, and then say that everyone's getting fatigued on Star Wars movies. That is the biggest load of shit I think I've ever heard come out of anybody's mouth ever. Anybody who says that, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, nobody, if anybody wants to make that argument, it would be towards Marvel. Why? Because they're releasing like 3 or 4 movies every year.
Oh, yeah,
that's
dude.
Not Star Wars.
And that's, I mean, like, there is a little bit, I think, like, superhero fatigue, but everybody has spent the last 10 years investing themselves in this Marvel universe. And so when, like, a new movie comes out, like the, you know, Infinity War or whatever, people, like have to go see it because they spent the last 10 years investing in it. And it wasn't like, you know, 50 years ago in the 70s or whatever, however long ago, 40 years ago. And then, like, 10 years went by and, you know, nothing really happened, and then finally they made the prequels, and then like 10 years went by and they made these new ones. Like the Marvel train has just been like consistent for like the last like 10 years, dude. And so like everybody, you know, Marvel's done something very smart. And
my hat's off to Kevin Feige.
Yeah,
that guy hands down knows what he's doing with.
So
Marvel.
Just out of curiosity, dude, I know you were talking about like a tweet from Mark Hamill. What exactly was the tweet?
It was basically to Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson had posted a tweet about he was on a flight heading to somewhere where it takes like 8 hours or something, and he had made a comment about episode 8 is so much better when you're on an 8-hour flight to like Tokyo or something like that.
Oh, because nobody can leave?
Yeah, right there. Yeah, go down. It's it says Ryan Johnson defends Star Wars scene.
Oh, okay, here we go. Okay.
Oh wait, Mark Hamill regrets doubting. I don't know which one it is now. So crap.
Let's see.
No, I don't think this is it.
No.
That's so crazy. It wouldn't just come up as Mark Hamill. Ryan Johnson.
I tried to find it really quick, but I didn't like actually see it. So, anyways, like, and so was Ryan Johnson like mad or like what happened? I mean,
yeah, basically, Ryan Johnson was saying like, oh, episode 8 is so much better when you're on a.
Oh, here we go. I got it. I pulled up.
Yeah, here it is. I've decided the optimal viewing experience for The Last Jedi is on a plane 8 hours into an international flight. Here's Mark Hamill's response. Brilliant idea at Ryan Johnson. The perfect way to prevent people from walking out. Hashtag The Last Jedi. Hashtag critic proof.
I love it.
It's like, awesome.
All right, hit that heart
Gotta
button.
Go Mark Hamill. God, who doesn't love Mark Hamill?
No, he's actually
he's amazing.
Yeah, he really is, dude. He I follow him on like social media and stuff like that, and he's always got like something funny to say or something witty. And he's not like mean about it like other like I don't know. I've seen like other celebrities like. Have you ever seen William Shatner's Twitter feed?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, dude! So yeah, obviously William Shatner's like 90 years old, but like he literally, I think, spends his days like trolling Twitter and just trying to be like funny and witty and like and mean to people, kind of. But he ends up coming off as just like a huge jerk most of the time. Like I follow his Twitter feed, dude, and I actually like recently like unfollowed him because I was just like, my god, man, like just stop, like. He was saying something. Oh, I got mad about it because he was saying something about Lucifer, and whatever he said was kind of snarky. Which, by the way, anybody that watches Lucifer, just so you know, it got renewed for Netflix. It got picked back up. Oh my god! Yeah, that. Netflix picked it back up.
It got canceled.
Yeah, dude, it got picked up. This just got announced like 2 days ago. I mean, they haven't really nailed down like when it's coming out or anything like that. But I mean, the cool thing about it being on Netflix is going to be the fact that the whole season's going to be there. You know, like Netflix doesn't do like one episode. So that means I'm going to be able to binge watch an entire season of Lucifer in like one day. So
we'll say thank you. What was it, CBS, for canceling your show?
Yeah, no, honestly, and Netflix
thank you, CBS.
Thank you. Yeah, Netflix is probably going to give them a better budget, and more creative freedoms. So I'm
surprisingly,
excited.
now that they're bringing it to Netflix, I will definitely go back and watch all of Lucifer.
No, you really should, dude. Honestly, like it's so good.
So moving on from that, though, we do have some controversial news that I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard about this. A lot of you probably may not have heard about this. But a pretty big thing that's happening right now over in the UAE is memes could be banned under the new EU copyright law, which is pretty insane. T-Rex, what do you think of that?
So, I mean, here's the deal. I get copyright and people wanting to protect their work. I totally can understand that. But, I mean, things that come out on the internet, you gotta understand when you put something on the internet, like, it's out there. The internet is supposed to be a free, open place where things get shared, information and ideas get shared. And if you post a funny meme on the internet, I think it's generally accepted that if it's, like, a good meme, like, everybody's gonna use it. And nobody's gonna pay you for that, honestly. Like, I think it's really stupid. I think they're trying to bring copyright laws and stuff like that into the modern age, but I think they're having a really hard time with it. I mean, imagine if people could copyright a meme, and anybody that used that meme had to, basically pay someone, or you could get like fined or sued or whatever. That's so frivolous. When especially 99% of the time it's something like this, like this exactly right here, where it's just somebody trying to be funny. Or add to their point, and I think it's too stifling on freedom of speech and freedom of expression. I don't know. What do you think, dude? I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I just think it seems so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why. I can understand when the people want to argue the point, saying, you're using my work and you're making money off of my work, but like I don't know. That's a hard one to kind of debate, because it's kind of one of those things where you just want to tell people, like, well, if you don't want your stuff to be used, don't put it on the internet.
Right.
I mean, really.
Yeah. I mean, just, don't put it on the internet, period.
I think PewDiePie actually had a good response to this specific thing. If any of you watch any of his videos, where he was saying basically about how if somebody were to use any of his content and decided to use it, this new law would make it to where he could go and claim all of the revenue, which already sounds like something that happens right now on YouTube anyways. So it seems a little strange, which a lot of you remember the Alinity thing, where Alinity was just like, I'm gonna copy strike PewDiePie.
Copy strike.
And, she ends up making the revenue off of that video just because of a tiny little 3-second clip that was there. So,
right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know. He did put it really well. I mean, I mean, that's the truth, though, is he doesn't really, I don't think he really goes through and claims copyrights on people. I mean, really.
No, he makes a good point by saying, like, what am I going to do? Scour the internet all day long looking for clips of myself and other people's videos? He even made a point saying you can go search PewDiePie right now in the search tab and find over 1 million, if not plus, things where it's not even him. It's just people talking about him.
Right, like it's not his channel.
Yeah, and he says if he really wanted to, based off of this new EU law, he could totally just go claim the revenue off of everybody's video, but he's not going to do that because he's not a dick.
Right. So I think it's right here, actually, he kind of talks about it. But that is super quiet. Let's see. Maybe that's not it. Let's see if I can find it. Pew News. Come on, Pew News. Let's see.
Who doesn't love Gloria Borga?
No, Gloria Borga quit.
Yeah, that's right.
It's quit. Now somebody else.
It's Holly something.
Yeah.
Holly
Actually,
Turner,
this is probably personally like one of my favorite segments of his. I'm gonna turn the here. Will you mute your mic real quick?
No.
Okay, I turned the sub audio way up. That way I make sure everybody can hear it.
What am I gonna do instead of good old 2012 memes? What am I gonna do without Success Baby Kid? Huh? What am I gonna do without Rick Ashley's Never Gonna Give You Up meme? The Copyright Directive is an attempt to reshape copyright for the internet, in particular rebalancing the relationship between copyright holders and online platforms. Article 13 states that platform providers should take measures to ensure functioning of agreements concluded with the right holders for their use of their work. So let's say I made a meme and it gets distributed everywhere. I can copy strike other people and make money for that meme. You can still sort of do that. I don't really see the point of this. I remember a few years ago, I actually got a copy strike from my lawyer. It came through my lawyer, sorry. It came through mail to my company because I used one of those rage memes. Apparently one of the person that made the rage meme was trying to cash in on it. And I think he was asking for less money than it would have cost for my lawyer. So we just said, fuck him. The thing is, I understand what they're trying to do, but clearly this is the idea of someone that doesn't understand the internet. The internet is all about sharing. It's all about reposting. And generally, no one seems to have a problem with that. And it's a certain ecosystem that's already in place, and if you mess with that idea, it's going to ruin a lot what's positive about the internet, a lot what's good about the internet. This article will make it...
All right, so he makes a really, really good point. Your audio is going to be super loud. Just that it ruins what the internet is all about, you know? And to his point, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know?
No, I completely agree.
And so... Yeah.
But I mean, he makes that point though right there, where he's like, if I make a meme and then I put the meme out there, then I can claim everybody's video for my own revenue.
Right.
Like, and he even made the point too. He was saying, you know, like that's something that's already now, so it doesn't really make sense. Which, yeah, it doesn't make sense. What are you trying to pull here? I just don't understand what they're really trying to do.
Yeah, I don't really get it either. I mean, so it's, I don't know, it's really strange.
We'll keep our eye on this. If there's any updates to it or anything like that, come for our next show. Like we'll keep you guys informed on that if there's any new changes to it.
Yeah.
But I mean that's pretty much it for that one. Pretty interesting. If you guys have any comments on it or know anything more than we've shared here, definitely let us know down below.
Absolutely.
Love to hear your thoughts on it.
Did you have any other movie things that you had seen that you wanted to talk about, or TV or anything like that?
I did not. The only biggest thing is would be for The Walking Dead, but I know you don't really watch that. Would be Andrew Lincoln's thing. Everyone's taking a shit thinking it's they're gonna die because Andrew Lincoln's too big. But yeah, not Rick. Carl. What came first, Carl? The egg or the chicken?
I loved those memes when they came out. I was like, when the Coral memes came out, I remember I was sending those memes to Tyler like a lot, like every day, like just sending him memes just of Coral. For anybody that I guess that watches Walking Dead, even though I don't watch it, like I thought it was just hilarious, and I was trying to be antagonistic mostly. It's mostly what I do.
Really, that's it. I think, yeah.
Okay. Well, so did you want to talk a little bit about Fallout 76? Because I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So, there's definitely some controversy going there.
So there's a couple different things. One is, I guess, a lot of people are upset over the fact that Fallout 76 isn't going to have any like NPC characters, which I am having a really hard time understanding like why people are upset about it. I mean, like, what do you think about this? I mean, like,
I think the reason so many people are pissed off is because they're forcing you. With the no NPC characters, no human NPC characters, they're forcing you to interact with the other people on the map. So let's say hypothetically me and you play together, right?
Right.
There's no other characters to interact with except you.
Right.
So now they're forcing me to interact with you. People don't necessarily like that aspect of it. They want other characters to interact with that are not other characters playing the game.
And so what you're saying is people are mad about the idea that this is an online game?
Correct.
So I guess my 2 points here would be A, this isn't a main series Fallout game. This isn't like a titled game. I mean, it's not Fallout 5. This is obviously an offshoot. That's why it's called Fallout 76. It's something different, you know. And B, if you want a single player game where you talk to NPCs and that's what you do, and you don't want to interact with other players, go play Fallout 4. Honestly, like, I was not excited for Fallout 5 at all, or Fallout 76 at all, until I saw the gameplay and I saw, like, what you could do and how fun this could be, and I'm totally on board the Fallout train now. Like, I'm so excited about it, and I don't get it. Like, all these people were like, well, it's, not going to have a single player experience. I'm like, well, yeah, that's not the point. And I understand they can't cater to everybody, but they're trying something new. I mean, let them try something new. Why not? Like, and if you don't like it, don't play it. Honestly, like, I really hate that whole, like, oh, well, it's not what I wanted argument. It really, like, irks me really bad.
I mean, to each their own is what I say on that particular one. I think a lot of people just really enjoyed the single player mode. Like, they just want to be able to. I don't think anybody's necessarily completely upset that it is an online game. I think I said yes to that. I don't think that's particularly the thing. It's that there's going to be no human NPCs. That's really the huge major gripe of the whole game, is that you have to play. They're basically forcing you to interact with all the other characters on the map.
So we're worried that we're not going to get people like this, because we love that wonderful voice acting and the facial expressions of the engine of the that they're currently using. They really need a new engine. I guess is my point. I hate the way the character models and the animations and the facial animations in the Fallout series and the Elder Scrolls series. I think it's like one of their weakest points, and I don't particularly think the stories are ever that great. And I guess I get that you want a single player game, but that's going to be Fallout 5, and Fallout 4 wasn't really that long ago. And I guess the other reason I get super defensive would be I want Elder Scrolls 6 before I want a Fallout 5, and so if you skip my Elder Scrolls game and you get another Fallout game before I get my Elder Scrolls game, that's not fair to me.
Well, I think another big thing, too, was a lot of people's arguments for this is that nobody really asked for it. But now that it's here, a lot of people are very excited about it, which I was excited about it before you were excited about it. And then you changed your mind. But it's kind of one of those things where, like, I think people were on the fence about it until they actually saw what it was. Right. And then they were just like, disappointment.
I mean...
But I think a lot of people said, I wish that they wouldn't have gone back and made a prequel game and would have just made Fallout 5 instead of wasting their time on this game.
Right,
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
Right. I mean, but this could be like a really good experience, though. I mean, who's to say? I mean, they said that they're going to have protections in place to keep people from just griefing other people. Like, say you build your base, there's going to be something in place to where I can't just come like kill you over and over again, or like just keep shanking you. Which, I mean, I plan on getting this game, and I hope you do too. And that's going to be really my only objective. It's probably going to be just come after you. I'm going to get those launch codes and I'm going to blow up your base. So I don't know. I'm excited for the game. I think there's a lot of good opportunities there for, I guess for the crowd that would want to, would be like kind of like a role playing type thing, or you could send people out on quests. It's up to people to make their own world at this point, and I mean, it could turn something really cool, and it could also be terrible, I guess. So I do see both sides. I just think that because they're trying something new, they should be given the benefit of the doubt to try something new and see how it turns out. If it's a pile of hot garbage, like, I guess they probably won't do it again. It'll be straight back to Fallout 5, and everybody will be happy, I guess. So I don't know. The other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is Fortnite, and I know I kind of touched on one of these a little bit about the Sony Fortnite controversy in my Fortnite review. But I don't know. What do you think? So, did you read basically about how like it all comes down to like money for Sony as far as like why they won't let people like switch over their account? Or have a shared account.
It's so dumb. I don't understand. And then for the response that Sony had to all of those players,
right?
It just was a slap in the face, and it just was like, what are you doing to your community?
Yeah.
Like, I don't. It's almost like they're acting like Square Enix during E3. You know what I mean?
Well,
like giving us a bunch of crap.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. So basically, for anybody that may not be like up to date on this, basically, if you have a PlayStation, you play Fortnite on PlayStation, and that's where you have your Epic Games account linked. You can't transfer that over to like the Switch or the Xbox or anything else. But if I'm on Xbox and I have an Epic Games account, I can play Fortnite on my Xbox and my Switch or my PC, just not on PlayStation. And what we're finding out is basically why Sony has said no to this is because they don't want somebody buying like a cosmetic or vanity item on the Xbox store for money and then using it on PlayStation, which is like just a load of crap. Like, let the players play. Like, I mean, who cares if you don't get a slice? They just want their slice of pie, is what it sounds like to me, and they don't want to miss out on that opportunity for money. So, but I think it really paints Sony in a really bad light to be doing something like this. I mean, obviously, someday Fortnite's going to go away, and it's not going to be the hottest game, in the world anymore. But right now, it is. This is what everybody's playing, and if you're generating ill will towards the biggest community out there right now, like that's a bold move, Cotton. I mean,
well, I will tell you this, PlayStation fans do not forget. Let me tell you that.
No, they really don't
forget.
They don't ever.
And so when you decide to, not have something like this going forward where everybody else is, we're not going to forget about this. We're going to remember this.
Absolutely.
Just like we all remembered what happened during, what was that one game that Sony ended up flipping the switch for a second and everybody could play?
No, it was the actual company itself that actually, it was a server configuration. I think it was Rocket League.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. League. And everybody played together for like an hour, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, our bad." And I almost think it was like semi-intentional, like just to test the waters and see what would happen.
I think it was a jab at Sony, if anything.
Yeah.
Because if you look at this right now, every other company does not care. Every other company, it's only Sony. You would think out of all the companies that would have a big deal like this, it would be Nintendo. You would seriously think it would be Nintendo.
Oh, God, yeah.
You literally use one clip of anything Nintendo in your video, bam, copyrighted. Like, screw you, anything Nintendo.
I mean, this video is going to get copyrighted just for saying Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. Just for us saying Nintendo, it's going to get copyrighted. But it's just crazy to me that Sony would be the one doing this.
Yeah.
Like, you would think it would be... This is like some kind of petty crap Nintendo would pull on all of their fans.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
not
for sure.
Sony.
Yeah.
But here we go. I mean,
here we are.
It had to be from somebody.
Yeah, and I think that, and I've said this before, I think it's because Sony's in first place in the console wars right now. Like, they feel like they can do kind of whatever they want. If the tables were flipped, I'm curious. If Microsoft was in Sony's position where they had more consoles out than anybody else, and they were the rousing success, would this be the same scenario? Would it still be Sony doing this, or would Sony be promoting that cross-play feature, the fact that you can do that, and Microsoft would be saying, no, we want our slice of pie? So I don't know. I mean, obviously, we'll never know. But it's all just, I think, a matter of circumstance sometimes. There's also a funny article, like, not funny, but an article about Fortnite addiction. Parents send their 9-year-old daughter to rehab after she became addicted to playing Fortnite.
Yeah, this is a crazy story. I don't know if any of you have actually read this or seen this or anything like that, or even heard about, a rehab addiction for Fortnite. But the craziest thing overall for this is parents living in the UK sent their 9-year-old daughter to rehab after she became addicted to a video game called Fortnite, which obviously a lot of you are familiar with Fortnite. We've been talking about it. But what had happened is the girl had played up to 10 hours a day, slept through classes, wet herself instead of going to the bathroom, according to her mother. So what had happened is she would play this game extensively, go to school, then she would start falling asleep, and then the teacher started noticing. So then the teacher notified the parents, and then the parents tried to kind of combat this by, like, lessening her hours on the game, but that didn't matter. Like, she still figured out a way to play the game. And then they would find her in the morning after she's played and not slept. She was so addicted to this game, she would not move from where she was to go use the bathroom. She literally would piss where she was. It didn't matter where she was. She just would pee.
And it says it in the article here. And it does say the parents tried to limit her time to, like, like an hour during a school day and 2 hours on the weekends. But she was like, at night, she would get up and go play and stuff like that. And it says they found her sitting on a urine-soaked cushion playing the game. Blah, blah, blah. So I have a couple thoughts about this. I don't know. I think that gaming can definitely be an addiction, especially when you're super young. I mean, when I was young, I was definitely one of those kids, where I had a Super Nintendo, I had a Sega Genesis, and I would, like, at nighttime, I would, like, when I got put to bed, I would, like, lay there until I literally heard my parents close their door to their bedroom on the other side of the house. I would like listen and wait for it, and I would turn on my TV, turn the volume down, and sit there and like be playing Shining Force or Super Mario or whatever, and I would play until like 3 in the morning, and then I'd wake up for school at like 7, and I mean, I was always pretty good with like not having a whole lot of sleep. Like I always did pretty well with it, and so it didn't affect me that much. In school, I was still able to like do my assignments and stuff like that. But when I was that age, I definitely was exactly like that. But you know what? Like if I had to get up to go pee, I had to get up to go pee. There was never a time where I was like, this match is pretty important, so better just let it go.
Yeah, I honestly, to tell you the truth, from thinking that far back, I can't think of a time ever that I was that invested in something that I just could not get up out of my seat to go use the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean that to me is super crazy, and I don't know, that to me is indicative of like that child. I don't think that this is like a normal thing. I think that child is in a different mental state. You know, like her addiction is so severe. You know, these are the people that, like, she's like that type of person that, like, if she lived in Vegas, she'd be, like, mortgaging her house and losing it in the casino, like, immediately, you know, like, as an adult. Like, that's the type of mentality that this little girl has. And that brings me to another thing where, you know, they've classified I think it's in the EU, video game addiction as, like, a mental health condition. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, like, violent, and by the way, anybody ever, like, I know this is kind of going on in the United States right now, like, they're trying to blame, like, violent video games on, like, gun violence and stuff like that. There are no real studies out there that show, like, a real correlation between, like, real violence and video games. If anything, and a lot of people out there that play video games as children will say, like, hey, yeah, no, video games to me were an outlet. Like, an outlet for, like, if I was, like, angry or whatever, I'd get on, like, Grand Theft Auto and go run people over or whatever. There's no credence to that statement, in my opinion. That's just coming from me, coming from a gamer, obviously. But them classifying this as a disease, like video game addiction, that's crazy to me. That, I don't know. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts, dude?
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely is interesting how far modern science has come when it comes to, like, medical issues. Because I feel like, I mean, I can understand how this can be an addiction and there's an addiction behind it.
Right.
But I don't necessarily see how they can say that it's a mental condition kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I've played games where I've gotten really addicted, like Castle Crash, or what's that game we used to play a lot of?
When?
That game that was like Castle Crashers, but you played as like the Vikings, and you had to build the little towers and the walls and the
Castle Clash or
Clash of Clans.
Oh God, I hate that game so much.
Yeah, Clash of Clans. Anyways, I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on that game, and you know I was addicted to it. Me and T-Rec87 both spent money on that game.
We both did.
I think I may have spent more money.
I mean, I don't know. I had student loan money at the time, so I was pretty like.
More than I did.
YOLO.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you're just like, you know, when you have that little bit of extra money and you really want that thing, even though you know you shouldn't, you do it. Mm-hmm. And I don't really know what it is in my head that makes me want to do that, but I mean, it does happen. Now, does that make me have some kind of psychological condition because I wanted to purchase an in-game app? No.
I don't think so. No.
I think that girl may have other problems stemming not from gaming.
Right.
I think they want to use the game as the problem.
Right, like the game is the problem.
The game is the problem.
No.
I don't think it's the game. I think there's something else going on there that this little girl is having a hard time dealing with. So I think that them saying Fortnite is the problem and you have an addiction to Fortnite, I think there's something else going on there.
Oh, yeah. And I think as a parent, like, you have to, I mean, definitely, like, obviously, like, you know, deep down in my heart, but, like, one of my greatest joys is going to be when my kids, you know, someday turn into gamers. I'm not saying that they will. Maybe they'll hate video games. Maybe they'll just be all about, and if they're all about playing outside and doing so outside, like, I'll totally support it, and I'll totally go with them and you know, join in. But, you know, obviously, I want to play video games with my kids some days. I've got 2 boys. I've got twin boys. And I think I've thought a lot about this, you know, where I think about, like, my childhood experiences, and I think, you know, like, yeah, it's okay to let them play games, but you have to teach them that you have to do other things first. Like, you have to do, like, your schoolwork first, you know, you have to, And there's other things in life besides video games. The video games will always be there, and as long as you teach your kid that, you know, like, hey, there's other things out there. I think that's just an important thing to convey to your child, that, you know, the video games are not the only thing, you know. And as long as you just, you know, teach them right, and I think being involved and not just letting them sit in their room by themselves is a lot of it. Like, if you just leave somebody in isolation and let them feed their addiction, like, it's just gonna like compound itself. But you know, if you sit there and actually play with your kid for a while and get involved with them and like have a conversation about it, and you can talk about it together, and when you have time to play together, like, I think it can be a really positive experience. But when you just like when you just leave your kids sitting in their room and they're like wetting their pants, yeah, I almost think that that's more the parents' fault than the child's at that point, you know. And I don't know that checking the child into rehab was the best situation either. But you know, maybe just in their situation, that's all they had left option wise. You know, I can't judge, I guess. So I don't know. I hate social issues like this because I love video games. So I don't know.
I'd say it's a very touchy subject, but
Yeah.
I mean, my honest opinion is you can't blame Fortnite.
No.
You can't blame the game.
No, you can't.
You can't blame game.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna blame games, why don't we go back to when Call of Duty released the the infamous airport scene?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
people,
yeah.
Nobody really made a big deal about that. A lot of people did talk about it and say it was very controversial, but they didn't ban that game.
No, but that was,
the game.
if you remember, dude, like news outlets picked up on that though hardcore, because this was still like where like news was like a big source of information. You know, back in that day, I guess, and everybody, they were all slamming the anti-video game agenda. You know,
I
like,
will
really.
tell you this though: if they accomplished anything with him trying to slam that and that scene, the only thing they actually did was make it more popular.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that's absolutely the truth. I mean, is that when you call like attention to something like that, like it only it like whether you want to or not, when you're calling that negative attention on something, like all you're calling really is attention. That's why they always say, like, you know, like in Hollywood, like any publicity is good publicity, or bad press
is good.
Yeah, whatever that saying is about like bad press is always good or whatever. You know, like calling attention to something only, you know, gets people's attention, and no matter what, that whether it's a negative or positive, like attention is like a good thing, you know. So I do agree with you there. One thing I gotta really quickly get off my chest. I have a small rant I want to go on. Just really quickly, and only people who really played like the Devil May Cry series full through will understand this. I want to talk about a little bit about Devil May Cry, and also played the reboot. I think that Devil May Cry is having a slight identity crisis. If you go back and you look at, say, like, let's see here. I'm trying to bring up, you know, obviously we got, you know, Dante from Devil May Cry 4. And I get like art styles change and graphics change over time. And you got like Dante Devil May Cry 5, which, as Tyfly pointed out when we were talking earlier, like he has not aged well, it would appear.
Yes. He got a lot older.
When I was watching that Devil May Cry 5 trailer, the reveal from E3, I honestly thought that it was Dante from the Devil May Cry reboot. I thought they were doing another reboot game like DMC 2. Instead of Devil May Cry 5, but they switched back over to the old universe. It just really quickly, anybody just bear with me. Like, look at Dante here from the DMC reboot, and then look at Nero here during this trailer. And obviously in a still frame, they do look pretty different. You know, like he's definitely got like a different jawline and everything like that. But during the trailer, until I saw Nero using his sword, which is like this image right here, I literally thought that was Devil May Cry Dante, and I was like, what are they doing? And I couldn't tell. And, I mean, here's Devil May Cry 4 Nero, who obviously looks a lot different. And I get we're on, you know, it's in a lot of years and graphics change and stuff like that. But I feel like it's almost like Devil May Cry, like they're trying to blend, like, the reboot Devil May Cry in with this new universe. Or with the old universe, I guess I should say. The old Devil May Cry. And I think they're just having a really hard time, deciding what they want to do. Oh, here's a good picture of Dante. That's awesome.
Looks like a creepy Joker there.
Yeah, a little bit of Photoshop action. But I don't know. I'm super excited for the new Devil May Cry. I just think that all the fans that hated the reboot, and now they're going back to Devil May Cry 5, but they don't want to get rid of that new aesthetic, that new art style, and maybe it could be it could be something so simple as like a different engine. It could be the engine they're running on looks more like the reboot engine, or maybe it's the same engine. I don't know, but just from a personal, excuse me, a personal standpoint, like, I don't know. This definitely isn't, like, to me, like the old school Devil May Cry. It just looks a lot different. I don't know. Tyler, have you ever played the Devil May Cry series at all?
I did play the original one. I played the first Devil May Cry.
Oh god, dude, you got it. You should go through and pick up the HD collection. It's got like the first 3 games, and it's totally worth it. And then I think 4 and the reboot are on Game Pass if you have Game Pass.
I do not have Game Pass.
Well,
I did have Game Pass. Let me put it this way: there weren't enough games on there to hold my attention, and with Microsoft coming out with Sea of Thieves, which was a total letdown, I was just like, I'm out.
Yeah, and it has been. But you know what? With Game Pass though, Microsoft's pushing this so hard. Like, I guarantee you, the months that they have a big game come out, like say the new Forza Horizon, like that'll be a month I buy Game Pass and probably cancel it after that month after I get done playing it. Or when a new Halo game comes out, you bet your money I'm going to get Game Pass for at least that month and then probably cancel it. Because it's a great way to play that game much as you want for like a month or two and then cancel and not have to pay that $60.
Yeah, guaranteed though, just watch. Here within the next, like, once they start getting these major titles, like Fallout 4 and all these other major titles, guaranteed, without a doubt, they're going to raise their prices. Whether it only be, like, by $5 and make it $15 a month, it's going to happen.
I think that it's only going to fail if they do that. I really do. I don't think that they could raise the price and make it still succeed. I mean, maybe.
Well, I mean, think about it though. If they have all these major, massive titles that people are, going out spending $60-$70 for, and now all you have to do is spend $15 a month. Are you kidding me? People are going to spend $15 a month.
Right, but Microsoft's just getting that money, and I'm sure they're paying the developers or doing something to get to, have them put their games on there, but
there's got to be something there. It makes you wonder how they're making their money. How are you getting Bethesda to put Fallout 4 on your console? I know it's already been out, so they've already made a crap ton of money, so that game's kind of old news now, but how are you going to get a brand new game that hasn't been released on day one on Xbox? How is that going to make money?
Like,
that's
I
that's
see
how
your
I don't
point.
understand. Like, how are they? Because if the game costs $60,
I think they're
paying $15. Where's the money?
I mean, I guess that would be in the same vein of thought as like that Movie Pass thing you got, wouldn't it? I mean, they're counting on so many people getting it that it offsets the cost of whatever they're doing. It would have to be like a similar type of thing where they're just counting on so many people, like just like letting their subscription keep running, even if they're not downloading those games, or so many people are doing it. It's offsetting the cost of saying like, hey, we'll give you guys $10 million. Fallout 4 has been out for a long time. We'll give you $10 million if you put it on Xbox Game Pass. And at that point, Bethesda has no reason to say no, because I mean, anybody who, for the most part, realistically was going to buy Fallout has already bought it.
Yeah, and it's already done it.
And this could also be a good thing for developers, because say somebody like me who's not into the Fallout series and never played it, but all of a sudden it's free on Game Pass. Well, crap, I might pick it up. I might try it. I might end up really liking Fallout, and then when the next Fallout comes out, I might buy it, which is kind of where we're at here. Fallout 76. I did want to really quickly before we're done here, and let's show you another thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about, there is a rumor that the new Xbox is codenamed Scarlet. And they have referred to this, and obviously here in the next couple of years, probably like 2020, we're going to be getting new consoles. We all know that the life cycle is almost over for the current consoles. But they have said, I think it was Phil Spencer, like the head of Xbox, that has said that they're really going to focus on like higher frame rates, obviously like better graphics, but the higher frame rates will be huge for consoles, because that's one of the things that PCs always has had over consoles, is having like that higher frame rate. And if consoles could get like first person shooters to 60 frames per second solidly for like every first person shooter, like that could really take a shot at PC gaming. But most interestingly, what I saw about this is that they called it a family of devices. not just a new console. So that means, you know, are they coming out with like a VR type thing? Like you think like PlayStation VR, or like this is saying that it could even have like mobile phone connectivity is what this article's saying. Like, what do you think about this?
Personally, me, what I would love is a more in-depth video game experience. If they add more VR experience, that's more realistic. So they need to focus on VR and less on portability, which I know for a fact. I mean, for as far as it goes for PlayStation 4, I mean they're having a really hard go at VR technically. So why would Microsoft want to jump into that field, knowing that there's so much competition, but also too that it's not really like moving along? But I feel like if they were to put all of their eggs in that basket for VR and push VR into newer realms and newer depths, like I really believe VR is the way of the future. Like it has to be.
I think in its current form, it's gonna stay kind of niche. Right now, the biggest barrier to VR is the entry point, the dollar entry point. It's like $500, $300, whatever you want to say, for a new device that, to be quite frank, doesn't do like a ton of different stuff. It just does like it's one little thing, and that's a really high entry point. So I think until cost comes down, like if they say like next generation, Xbox or PlayStation, whatever, it's $399, but for $449, for $50 more, you get like the new Xbox VR or PlayStation VR. Would you pay an extra $50 for that?
For PlayStation?
Like, well, let's just say theoretically, whoever, it doesn't matter. Let's say you're gonna buy a new console next generation. The console's $399, but if for an extra $50, you could have VR.
I would pay the extra $50 for VR.
Okay, what about an extra $100? What about an extra $100?
I would pay an extra $100.
What about like an extra like $200?
No, definitely not.
Yeah, and so like, and I know like, okay, so like let's look this up really quick. PlayStation VR. How much does that cost? $349.99. Oh, here's one for $199, I guess.
Gosh, that makes me want to buy it.
I mean, that makes me want to. You don't even have a PlayStation.
I know. I mean, I'm waiting for a PS5. Like, I hope that they put all their eggs in the basket for VR on the PS5.
I think, and here's another one, and this is obviously the HTC Vive, $500, $800 for the Pro Edition. It's too much money for this to be adopted widestream. Like, dude, if you could give me like an epic RPG and VR, being able to move around, look around the world, and it didn't cost me $700, I'm so in. You know, if it cost me an extra $100, I'm so in. And right now, that is the barrier from VR being popular. Like, I think Kinect was a great idea, but I think like you're right. I think VR is kind of more the way of the future. And I think it's really what's going to happen in the future. But I think that right now, when we're looking at pricing, I just don't think it's there yet.
No, I completely agree. I would have to say, as far as it goes for the new, rumored, as far as the new Xbox console, Scarlet, is that what it was? Scarlet, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, why do we need a new console when the Xbox One X is so powerful enough to run games now?
Okay,
but
so
also for the future. But what my question is why can a new system offer? What can a new system offer that we can't get on the Xbox One right now?
So I guess what I would say to that is that the Xbox One X is intrinsically tied to the Xbox. They can't fully take advantage of the power of the Xbox One X, and like you can't have, say, like let's take like Destiny 2 or Call of Duty or something like that. Okay, you can't have players playing together. Like say you have an Xbox One X, I have a regular Xbox. You're playing Call of Duty 4 at 60 frames per second, buttery smooth, you know, everything's a little bit tighter, and I played on a original Xbox One, and it's 30 frames per second, which is still fine for most first-person shooters, but you would definitely have an advantage over me if we were playing like online together. And so because they're tied together like that, like that's like it's tethered, and so they have like a limit to what they can do. But if you bring out a new generation of consoles, you know, then you can say like, oh hey, we're not tethered anymore. We can do whatever we want. But I think it's time, dude. Like, when did the Xbox One even come out? It was like 7 years ago, wasn't it?
It'll be 7 years in 2020.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Because the Xbox One X just came out.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. It's November 22nd, 2013. So it's been 5 years, and then it'll be 7 years in 2020. Yeah, you're right.
Wait, what was that? Say that again. I was what?
What? Well, that's all we have time for today, guys. So, anyways, let us know your thoughts and your opinions in the comments below over any of the topics we discussed. And yeah, that's really it for today. Unless you had anything else you wanted to add, Tyfly.
I did not. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Really do appreciate your time. Like T-Rex87 said, if you have any questions or like anything that we talked about today, we'd love to hear your comments on it. Hear what you guys have to say about the new console, about the 9-year-old going to rehab, about the new Star Trek series. Whatever you guys have thoughts on, we'd love to hear it. So please let us know down in the comments below.
All right. Well, that's it for today, guys. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll speak again soon.
And always remember, stay awesome.